But for the first time, let us be seen as having given justice an opportunity. I particularly say that I would never participate, although it is my duty, I would never participate in a plenary session to remove a governor. Because what we do, we sit here, you know, the two parties argue their matters, they bring matters of law. We are not a court of law, we are a quasi-judicial process. In fact, it is purely political. It has got nothing to do with law. We know very well when I listen to the charges you brought, that have been read out, Mr. Speaker. You know, I will read Article 207 of the Constitution. I will read Section 109 of the PFM Act. But seriously, sitting down here as a senator, will I get an opportunity now to say, give me the evidence? Let me go through the evidence, the receipt that the governor authorized the spending of money at source. Those are accusations. Mr. Speaker, I think it is important for our colleagues to remember that this Senate does not impeach a governor. The impeachment happens in the county assembly. The county assembly are the ones who impeach the governor. Our job here is very simple. As per Article 181 of the Constitution, is to go through the law that was set up by this Parliament, which is the County Governments Act, to go through the process of removal. In fact, it will come to a point whether we're looking at it. We're not going to be looking at it whether this is a man or a woman, or whether the members of the committee were former governors. I dare say that the two distinguished senators who are former governors are really well thought out, very intelligent leaders who can be able to guide this process. So, Mr. Speaker, as emotive as the matter might be, let us remember one thing, that we can today decide, let's change that committee, and we put all nominated women as senators. But when it comes to voting, will they vote? And the fact is, they will not vote. Mr. Speaker, we talked about the issue of men versus women. Those are very emotive issues. But when it comes to a process which is clearly defined by the Constitution, the only people who will vote are the leaders of the delegation. And by design, or rather by the way things are in this country, unfortunately, most of the people who are elected as senators are men. It is a very sad situation, but is that something now that we have to go back to the voters and tell them that make sure that tomorrow when there's a woman who wants to become a senator, elect her. We are talking about this issue of two-thirds gender. But really, should it be a big argument when we are discussing issues of whether to allow 11 of our colleagues? You know, Mr. Speaker, the majority leader, when he sits here, is a very intelligent gentleman. He's not a member of that committee. He chose other members of his party who he thought that would be able to ensure that they give justice to this lady. The minority leader also chose members on this side without looking at the gender. The only thing that we emphasize on was that you are removing a governor. When you are removing a governor, you as an elected senator traverse the entire county to seek for vote. That governor traversed the entire county. If you come and remove that governor and ultimately you don't even have a vote to determine whether she goes home or not, what will it help? So, Mr. Speaker, I want to beseech my colleagues here that let us not trivialize this matter. Let us not bring the issue of two-thirds gender rule to determine how we are going to defend devolution. You know, it is quite sad, Mr. Speaker, that we are sitting in this house today on a special sitting, barely 3 months since the Honorable Governor took office. These are very emotive matters that require sober minds. It requires us to sit down in a committee, go through all the evidence, and then when you come here, because ultimately it will come back to plenary. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to plenary, I want to hear whoever is going to be elected as a chairperson of that committee convincing me whether I should vote to send that governor home or to retain her. My job is really not to impeach a governor. There is no senator here who can impeach a governor. A governor can only be impeached by the MCS. Our job is just to go through. We actually will be working as if we are, what do you call it? Huh? You know, there's a word, they use it a lot in America. As a jury. So our job is like as a jury. So we'll be sitting there and saying, did they follow the law? One. Okay, if they presented evidence that the governor spent the money at source, is it true? And then we leave the matters of the court to be dealt by the court. So in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I would like to beseech this House to support the committee way. Let us give the men and women who are put in that committee an opportunity to be able to go through the evidence, investigate the matter. Let's listen to the content of the motion is to investigate and determine whether or not the assembly followed the law.